All right, can you hear me up there all right? Yeah, he had to back out last second. All right. And good Saturday night, fans. Welcome to the regular season finale of the Arena League as the Iowa Woo take on the Duluth Harbor Monsters. Joel Waters in this booth solo tonight, and we're joined here briefly by head coach Mook. And Coach, a tough one last weekend. You score a franchise record 60 points with a really strong offensive first half. What do you tell your guys as you get ready for this one heading into the playoffs?
We just got to be better. In order to be great, we got to be better. So I told them to be better this game, and that's the game plan. Our word of the day is be better.
All right, Coach. Thank you very much. Good luck tonight.
Appreciate it.
Back here at the Hippodrome as we await the opening coin toss between the Woo and the Duluth Harbor Monsters. Once again, Joel Waters, welcome you to Waterloo for the final game of the 2024 Arena League season. And for Iowa, looking for their first home win of the season, their last chance, and before the postseason begins next week, as they'll take on the Kansas City Goats, the league's regular season champion, next week to kick off the postseason. Iowa coming in at 1-6, as we mentioned, a tough loss last week to the Kansas City Goats. Put together a very strong offensive first half, scoring on 6 of their first 8 possessions of the game, but then just struggling to keep the offense rolling. Meanwhile, Kansas City dominated the game, scoring on all but 1 possession and closed the game out on a pick 6 to improve to 6-1. Meanwhile, the Duluth Harbor Monsters come to Waterloo for the first time. They've split the regular season series so far with the Woo. Iowa was victorious in Duluth back on June 29th in a 41-22 win, the first and only win in franchise history. And then a couple weeks later, the return trip for Iowa back up in northern Minnesota, falling 52-41. So the grudge match here tonight between these two teams. Got a nice crowd on hand here at the Hippodrome for today's regular season finale, as JoJo Olibrice will have the throw-off duties to kick off this game. The ball's in the air, and we are underway in Waterloo. Ball bounces just inside the 5 and will be returned by the Harbor Monsters, but not very much on that one, as they will be pinned back near the goal line, and that is where Duluth will go to work in this first quarter. So the Harbor Monsters are coming off a impressive win last week at home against the Ozark Lunkers. 51-18 against the Ozarks, giving up the fewest points in a game in league history, although be it the first season of the league. As quarterback Javante Johnson will be lined up at quarterback. First pass incomplete, intended for Hassan Brockman. Brings up 2nd and 10. But going back to Duluth's dominant win last week, as we mentioned, the fewest points allowed by any team in any game this season. Johnson threw for 179 yards and 2 touchdowns, with Brockman coming in at quarterback through 3 touchdowns. As Johnson's going to go deep down the field, just out of the reach as he tried to go for Brockman once again. Wilkes, the defender, a couple steps behind him. Didn't need to worry as that falls incomplete. Brings up 3rd and 10. And so far, the Harbor Monster offense 0 for 2 through the air. As we go along, for new arena football fans, we'll break down the rules as we go. We may be 9 weeks into the season, but never a bad time to learn about the game. 3rd and 10, snap to Johnson. He's going to throw it down the near side, caught, and down just shy of midfield. That's Ricky Anderson, the 2nd. And that'll move the chains for the Harbor Monsters towards midfield for the first down of the ball game. Javari Flowers catching 2 touchdown passes last week in that win for Duluth as Johnson scrambles, fires deep downfield towards the end zone. Caught for the touchdown for Duluth, Hassan Brockman. It only took about 4 or 5 plays, and that'll put the Harbor Monsters on the board 6-0 with 12:27 to go here in the first quarter. Duluth currently sitting in second place in the league standings. We'll give you a breakdown after this 1-point conversion attempt from the 5-yard line. Of course, you can go for 1 point or from the 5 or 2 from the 10. Harbor Monsters going to go for 1 as Johnson fires across to McAllister. Loses his helmet in the process, but the 1-point conversion is good. And it'll put Duluth up 7-0 with just under 12 minutes to go. First period, and we'll shortly see the Iowa offense out here tonight for the first time. So as we get ready for this throw-off, a quick look at the league standings. It should be noted that essentially all the playoff spots have been decided. Kansas City easily securing the top seed in the league's regular season title, along with having the league's highest scoring offense at 6-1. They're hosting the Ozarks tonight. Duluth at 4-3 in second place. Ozarks third at 3-4, and the Woo locked into the 4 seed at 1-6. So regardless of tonight's outcome, whether it be an Iowa win and an Ozarks upset in Kansas City, based on tiebreakers, Duluth has that second seed locked up, and they'll host the Lunkers next week back up in Duluth. So the Woo offense about to get the ball for the first time tonight as Kyler Henson is back to return for Iowa. And if you might have noticed, the Woo are wearing some different uniforms tonight. We'll break those down here in a moment. As the first throw off goes the Woo's way, picked up by Henson about the 10. Falls on a scramble for the ball. Harbor Monsters were trying to potentially get a loose ball there, but Henson falls on top of it about the 12.5-yard line. And that is where the Iowa Woo will set up shop for their first possession of the night. So we just said Iowa's wearing some unique uniforms tonight. They normally wear all black, but it is Hawaiian theme night for this regular season finale. So they're wearing Hawaiian-themed jerseys. Light blue shirts, white with white and, I want to say that looks salmon flowers. Very tropical, very Hawaiian. Along with their black pants, black helmets. As Iowa goes to work here tonight. Averill Nelson, a newcomer to the program, will take the first snap, and first attempt will be incomplete towards Jamal Couch. A couple new additions to this Woo roster from last week's game. You'll see out there tonight, number 24, Lamar Wilkes. Arvell Nelson, who just threw his first pass attempt in a game for the Woo. Lenroy Naismith, number 11, and number 21, Dejon Warren. 10:15 to go, opening quarter. Duluth leads at 7-0. As Nelson scrambles to his left, will heave it downfield. Should say lob. It was intending to go for Sean McFarland, but falls incomplete. 3rd and 10. So this Iowa offense trying to get in gear with this opening possession. As we mentioned in the open, they scored on 6 of their first 8 possessions last week in their loss to Kansas City, a game in which they scored a franchise record 60 points. Trying for 6 this drive. Takes the snap, scrambles to his right, dancing, fires across the body, nearly intercepted by the Harbor Monsters. Dante Mason nearly got his hands on that one, but it will fall incomplete and bring up 4th down, so decision time for Iowa. And they will surrender the ball. And for those of you who are new to arena football, especially to the Arena League specifically, since there is no kicking or punting in the game, on 4th downs you have either the option to go for it or surrender the ball to your opponent on the other side of the field, and that is exactly what Iowa will do. And the Harbor Monsters are going to take over at their own 10-yard line, marching from east to west, leading 7-0 with 9 minutes to go, opening frame. Defenders in motion, high snap, ball on the ground, but picked up by Johnson, and they're going to rule that incomplete. Johnson took the high snap. It looked like he was going to hand it off to the running back. Instead, the ball hits the turf. But the referee rules it incomplete, 2nd and 10. So a little bit of a break caught there by the Harbor Monsters. Not losing yardage or losing the ball. Fakes the handoff. Pass complete to the near side. And the defense there to swarm the Duluth offensive players. Something of a gang tackle and a small gain for Duluth. About a yard, brings up 3rd and 9. See if Iowa can get the offense off the field and get back to work after a sluggish first possession of their own. Johnson, low snap into the backfield, has to chase it down. Looks, fires down the field, incomplete. Through the hands of Terry Thomas. With a Woo defender right on top of him, just slipped through his right hand. And decision now, time now for Duluth. And they are going to surrender the ball on 4th down. So back-to-back turnovers on downs for both squads. And Iowa will get the ball back at the 15-yard line. So we get a look inside the Duluth huddle. Duluth wearing what I believe is their home uniforms. Usually they would wear white on the road, but wearing their home uniforms, dark navy blue uniforms, white pants with a blue stripe, gold helmet, and the Harbor Monsters logo on the side with white numbers on their jerseys. We will take a quick timeout with 7:26 to go in this first quarter. Duluth leads it 7-0. This is Iowa Woo football. Waterloo, opening minutes of this one, Duluth leading at 7-0, and Iowa getting their second possession of the night as Nelson takes the snap. He's going to go deep downfield and falls just incomplete out of the hands of his receiver. That's Chris Herring, who went all the way deep, and correction, that was Jamal Couch. He's got his jersey rolled up a little bit, couldn't quite see the number. Had a good step on it, but just couldn't pull it in with two defenders in the vicinity. Pulls up 2nd and 10. Iowa was really going for the big shot there. Something that they learned the hard way last week is Kansas City just bombarded them with quick strikes, but were able to put some quick strikes of their own together. Nelson puts receivers into motion, taking a high snap, looks, dumps it off, caught by Olibrice. He's going to pick up some yardage and be tackled at his ankles. A nice pickup on second down. And based on our positioning, we're located in the west end zone. So we're facing the direction the Woo are going. Not quite enough to pick up a first down, but picks up about half the yardage needed, 3rd and 5. Play clock down to 6 seconds. Of course, 25-second play clock in the Arena League. Takes the snap, looks. Scrambles to his left, avoids the sack. Flips it off, caught by Albright. Going to be close. He lunges the ball past the sticks. Harbor Monsters think he was down. His knee was down short of the line to gain. And they are going to say 4th down, a very short 4th down. 4th and less than a yard, and the Woo, it appears, that are going to go for it. So an early roll of the dice for Iowa tonight. 3 in the backfield, Nelson hands it off. As Jay Palmer's going to pick it up and then some for the first down. First down of the night for the Woo as they push their way into Harbor Monster territory with just over 5 minutes to go in the first period, down 7-0. Another note for you newcomers to the Arena League. One of the key rules on offense, you can line up however you like. However, whoever's lined up at quarterback cannot advance the ball past the line of scrimmage. As Nelson falls on that loose ball. Loses a couple for second down. Line of scrimmage backs up to about midfield. I should say just shy of midfield, about the 24-yard line. Nelson in the backfield calling the signals, taking the snap. He's going to fire down the left side of the field. Is he down? Yes, he is. Touchdown, Iowa. Jamal Couch goes up and brings it down. Taking a little ride on the padded walls on the side, but gets in for 6, and Iowa is on the board. Iowa appearing to go for the 1-point conversion to attempt to tie this thing. So 1 possession each, or excuse me, 2 possessions each one touchdown apiece. Nelson taking the snap, fires in the middle, caught, and the conversion is good, and we are tied up early in this one, 7-7. Nice bullet to Albright, sliding in the end zone. Evens this game at 7 apiece. Well, we had a feeling that this one might be a close one and could turn into a classic. As we mentioned, the regular season series between these two for this year, all even at 1 apiece. Iowa winning the first matchup back on June 29th up at DECC Arena in northern Minnesota, 41-22. Again, their first and only win in franchise history. And then a few weeks later, after the 4th of July holiday, a 52-41, a close loss back up in Duluth. So Iowa trying to get that second win of the season, all of them potentially against Duluth. Albright's throw off down the field, bounces, and picked up by Deron Maxwell. He's going to have a big return here, and he will be taken down around the 20-yard line. Nice tackle made by Elijah Pugh, the Waynesboro, Mississippi native and McPherson College product. Just saved a kick return for a touchdown there. But it does set up excellent field position for the Harbor Monsters in Iowa territory with just under 3 minutes to go in the opening quarter in a 7-7 ball game. Travis Whitlock, the center for Duluth, lines up. Brockman in the backfield. Hands it back to Johnson. He's going to scramble. He's going to run for it. Wasn't lined up at quarterback, so he can carry it, and he will carry it into the end zone. Touchdown Duluth. And just like that, the Harbor Monsters back up ahead with their second touchdown of the night. And they will also elect to go for the 1-point conversion attempt. It's a little bit of a chaotic play. Johnson wasn't lined up at quarterback. He was at the running back position. Instead, Hassan Brockman, who's played a little bit of quarterback this season, took the snap. High snap there to Johnson. He's going to fire high to the end zone and too high. Incomplete, and the Harbor Monsters will settle for 6 but can't make it 7 and take a 13-7 lead with 1 minute and 48 seconds to go in the opening period. Well, we introduced you to head coach Mook Hollywood Zimmerman in the opening, assisted by Frank Costin. Quick introduction for the Duluth staff up there in Minnesota. The Harbor Monsters being led by head coach Tony O'Neill, as well as assistants Kevin Gregory II and Kevin Gregory III. So Kyler Henson will have return duties, standing just inside his own 10-yard line. He's been electric in throw-off returns this season. Had over 100 return yards in a recent game. I believe that was in the last meeting with Duluth, as this throw-off is going to hit the ceiling, and that will set up excellent field position for Iowa. Of course, if your throw-off hits the ceiling, you get the ball at midfield. So just like Duluth did on their last possession, Iowa will have excellent field position starting at the 25-yard line, marching from west to east, trailing by 6. With just over 100 seconds to go in the opening period. Woo fans trying to fire up the offense with the Woo chants throughout the building. This historic arena opening back up in 1919. Nelson, the low pass, incomplete. Looks like he was going for Albright there. No, correction, Couch. Couch was kind of pinned up against the near side wall. Was just out of his reach, brings up 2nd and 10. Clock continuing to roll as it does in Arena League play. Minute 21 to go in the first period. Nelson Couch was in the middle, caught, pinned up against the near side wall. Was just out of his reach, brings up 2nd and 10. Much is Daniel Crowell, the Meridian, Mississippi and Jackson State product, gets a couple on 2nd down. Say about a short 3 yards. As they adjust the sticks, they'll give him 3 yards. Brings up 3rd and 7 with under a minute to go, first period. Nelson in the backfield with Henson. Couch was pinned up against the near 3rd and 7. Putting Henson in motion, takes the snap, looks, fires to his left, caught. That's Albright. Dodges a defender and gets pulled down by his shoulder pads. I think the Iowa players wanted a potential horse collar call on that one, but they won't get it, but they will pick up the first down inside the 15. Iowa moving the ball well, and they won't snap the ball here again as we reach the end of the first quarter. 0's on the clock. We've played 1 here at the Hippodrome. Iowa on the move, but Duluth leads it 13-7. We'll take a quick timeout. Duluth leading it by 6. This is Iowa Woo football.
Oh, son of a...
Odell Collision. We fix all your... Whether you're looking to gather with friends or need a great location for a company party or event, Maple Lanes is the place. You're sure to have fun with bowling, pool, pinball, and other party games. Who says team building can't be fun? Challenge your staff to volleyball or let us set up the bags court for you. Kingpin Social has a wide variety of great food and drinks to top off your experience. Whether it's 2 people or 200, Maple Lanes has you covered.
In football, the goal is to avoid collisions, but on the road, sometimes collisions are unavoidable. When your car takes a hit, don't throw in the towel. Turn to Iowa Auto Rebuilders. With our full service facility and excellent workmanship, you'll receive high-quality auto repairs and a hassle-free experience. Visit our website at iowaautorebuilders.com to learn more. Get back on the road looking and feeling like a winner with Iowa Auto Rebuilders, where collision meets precision.
Back here at the Hippodrome in Waterloo, and the Woo are on the move inside the 15-yard line at the 13 of the Harbor Monsters, looking to tie the game and potentially take the lead on 1st and 10. Nelson surveying, scrambles, avoids the tackle at the ankles, fires to the end zone low, incomplete. He's looking for Kyler Henson there. The ball skips off the turf and out of bounds. Oh, a lot of young Woo fans eager to try and get a ball. Of course, one of the fun rules in the Arena League is if a ball goes out of play, it is free for fans. But event staff gets a hold of it and gets it back in the field of play, brings up 2nd and 10. Nelson in the backfield with Alla Bryce. He's going to take the snap, looks, moves to his right, falls incomplete. Oh, yes, incomplete. Had a little bit of a late whistle to rule the incomplete, but he was going for Alla Bryce. Throws it at his feet and just didn't get the whistle in time. Alla Bryce was ready to take off with it off the bounce. 3rd and 10 for Iowa. You have to imagine if they don't convert here that they'll go for it. Obviously no field goals in the Arena League. You got to go for the 6 when you can, especially when you're this close. Nelson standing all the way back near midfield, takes a snap, but we're going to get a flag first on the play, and it'll be a false start against Iowa. It'll back the Woo up 5 yards to just outside the 15 at about the 17. It's not where you want to be going if you're the Woo. Trailing here by 6 points with 13 minutes and change remaining in this first half, and the final game of the 2024 regular season, the inaugural season of the Arena League. Looking for their 2nd win. Quick pass caught by Jay Palmer, his first reception of the night. So he lost his mouthpiece on that one. Get some of that yardage back, but nowhere near the line to gain. They have to get all the way down to about the 2.5-yard line. They get back to the original line of scrimmage prior to that 5-yard false start penalty. And the Woo are going to go for it from their own 13. Defense in motion, snap to Nelson. Rolling, high pass and up, incomplete. Just out of the reach of Henson. He was moving along the back end of the end zone And the Woo will turn it over on downs inside the 15-yard line back to the Harbor Monsters. It's only 3 possessions so far for Iowa. Only one of them has ended in points, and that was their second one, which tied the game at 7 apiece. Duluth, meanwhile, scoring on 2 of their first 3 possessions, all coming in the first quarter. Here comes their first drive of the second quarter, as Javante Johnson inside the 5, alone in the backfield, puts the receivers in motion, and takes the snap and rolls to his right. Scrambles, he's going to go deep. Incomplete, and a near miraculous one-handed catch by Javari Flowers, and looks like he's a little shaken up. So we're going to have medical staff go take a look at him. Didn't quite see the end of the play, but potentially hit hard as he was going up for a reception along that padded wall. It may be padded, but it's still a hard hit. And he's back up on his feet. Correction, that was Terry Thomas, as he jogs back to the Harbor Monsters bench. So bring up 2nd and 10 for Duluth after that incomplete pass. Johnson alone in the backfield once again. So he sets Flowers in motion, taking a low snap, rolling to his right again. He's going to go deep again, and nobody is home. That one hits at the 5-yard line, incomplete. So 2 deep passes, 2 incompletions. As Coach Mook trying to fire up his defense and get a stop here on 3rd down and try and get the ball back without any further damage on the scoreboard. The clock ticks under 11 and a half minutes to go till halftime. Duluth leading at 13-7. I've said it in previous games, but one of the cool things about this league is coaches can be on the field, not just the sidelines, on the field. Pitch back to Johnson, getting a block, looks, fires across the field, caught, and a big hit. Travis Whitlock, the center, near midfield. He'll move the chains for the first down, but that was a hard hit and just sounded like he avoided helmet to helmet. But you could hear the pads popping on that one. Pushes Duluth ahead for 1st and 10. So we're going to get a stoppage in play. Iowa's going to burn their first timeout. So Coach Mook's going to try and fire up his defense once again. He was getting them fired up on those first 2, after those first 2 pass attempts deep downfield that fell incomplete. But couldn't have been too happy about giving up that big 3rd down conversion to the center. And we return to action after Iowa uses its first timeout of the half. Have 2 remaining in the final 10:42 and running. 1st and 10, Duluth at midfield. Johnson taking the snap, back and pedaling, fires down the field, hits the ceiling. Haven't seen that on many pass attempts on offense this season, with a pass going so high that it hits the ceiling here at the Hippodrome. And that one does. You usually see them on throw-offs. Nonetheless, an incompletion for the Harbor Monsters brings up 2nd and 10 for Duluth. Johnson consulting with his receivers and linemen. Play clock down to 6 seconds. You only get 25 seconds here in the Arena League. Down to 2. Takes a high snap. Johnson running to his right. Dumps it off. Caught by McAllister. He's going to reverse field. Pick up the first down. Go to the corner of the end zone. Falls in for the touchdown. And Duluth on the board with their 3rd touchdown of the game, but there is a flag down on the field. And we're looking at the clock perched along the east side of the arena. And I think we're going to get holding, was the call by our head official, Steve Schaub. I'm not going to lie, I thought there was a delay of game as the play clock was down to 20 by our vantage point, or down to 0 by our vantage point. But the holding call will back the Harbor Monsters up to their own 20 on 2nd and 15 with 9:37 to go, first half. And Duluth leading it 13-7. Johnson alone in the backfield. High snap, grabs it with his right hand, is going to go deep downfield. Lob pass batted incomplete by Raj Lewis, but he's going to draw a penalty flag, potentially for defensive pass interference. From our angle, that looked clean, just a clean swat of the ball. But not quite what the officials saw, and it will be defensive pass interference against the Woo and against Lewis. And the Woo fans were not happy about that one. And it's going to put the Chains deep into Iowa territory. 1st and goal inside the Miller Lite red zone. Right at the 5. Of course, officials have a much better angle on the action on the field of play than we do, but to be honest, that looked clean to me. But 1st and goal for the Harbor Monsters at the 5. Johnson's going to put his receivers into motion once again, takes the snap, hands it off to Brockman, but he's not going to get much. But a nice gang tackle by the Woo defense. Actually lost a couple yards. Brings up 2nd and goal, lost 4. Backs him up to the 9. As the chance of defense starting to pick up here at the Hippodrome. Johnson alone in the backfield. Gets his receiver Anderson in motion. Flag on the play. And our 2nd false start penalty of the night. This one will go against Duluth and back them up 5 yards even more. Never underestimate the home crowd and what they can do. But never underestimate your opponent's offensive ability to put points on the board when you least expect it. So 2nd and goal, back up to the 14.5-yard line. After a 4-yard tackle for loss and a 5-yard false start penalty. Harbor Monsters moving the wrong way, and that's where the Woo want them. Johnson dancing, fires, finds a wide open Whitlock in the end zone for the Harbor Monster touchdown. And Duluth will now take a 2-possession lead with their 3rd score of the night on their first possession of the 2nd quarter. As we're going to take another look at that one. He's dancing back towards midfield, forward to about the 16. Whitlock takes a little bit of a hit just inside the 5, and then falls right in, right between the O's of the Woo word mark in the end zone. And Duluth's going to go for 2 here from the 10. Whitlock, who just caught that touchdown pass, takes the snap. Johnson got rushed all the way back midfield. Tried to find Brockman, but falls incomplete. Duluth was trying to get back that point they missed on their previous touchdown, where they failed on a 1-point conversion attempt. And this 2-point conversion, fails for them as well. So with 7:34 to go in the second quarter, Duluth leads at 19-7. As Iowa trying to get their first touchdown of the second quarter and get into double digits for the first time tonight. Dante Mason will have the throw-off duties as Henson, his tall figure, which has made him one of the tougher guys to tackle on kick returns this season, is back for the Woo at his own 5. And Mason's pass just misses the ceiling, caught by Henson inside the 5. We'll see what he can do here on the return. Nearly broke through a hole and just comes up short, shy of the 20, which is where the Iowa Woo offense will return to work on offense, their second possession of the quarter, 1st and 10. We should note that the last time Iowa played Duluth, which was back on July 13th, which came after the 4th of July holiday, not a whole lot of offense through the air, but the defense really stood up to the challenge. And again, a great kick return performance by Kyler Henson, 108 kick return yards in their last meeting against the Harbor Monsters. Ball loose on the ground. With a wild scramble on the field, we'll see who fell on it first. Couple Harbor Monsters say it's them. No official signal yet. And it will remain Iowa ball. It appears Nelson just lost his grip on it. It is a little bit humid inside the Hippodrome here tonight. Was about 87 degrees at kickoff outside. Of course, we're playing inside arena football, of course. Can make things sweaty and humid inside, and the ball falls out at times. Pitch back to Nelson. Tries to pick it up. He won't this time. And it's going to be a defensive touchdown as the Harbor Monsters fall on top of that one. And an offensive series gone wrong for Iowa, as it appears Albright tried to pitch it back to Nelson, but couldn't hold on to it. And Duluth fell on top of it in the back of the end zone. We'll take another look at it here. Yeah, just a mad scramble at the back of the end zone on 2 consecutive plays, as it was Derek Daniels Jr. who fell on it for the defensive touchdown. So Duluth will go for the 1-point conversion following the defensive score. They failed on their last 2 attempts, a 1-pointer and a 2-pointer on their last offensive run. Trying to extend their lead further with under 5 minutes to go. High snap falls incomplete, hits the post, as Johnson was looking for Henry Piguet. Not even in the vicinity. You need to be an Olympic high jumper to catch that one, and if you had that kind of height, you'd be in Paris right now. But Duluth fails to score the 1-point conversion after the defensive touchdown and extends their lead to 25-7 with 4.5 to go first half. So for Iowa, last week 6 for 8 on first half possessions, finding the end zone. So far tonight, only 1 for 5. Dante Mason throw off duties once again, sporting the gold Harbor Monster helmet. Heaves it downfield. Henson catches it inside the 10. Crosses field, breaks a couple tackles. He's going to get pat near midfield and pinned up just beyond midfield by about a couple feet. A nice return for a Woo player who's turned out to be an excellent addition on special teams. Iowa's going to have it at about the 24.5-yard line of the Harbor Monsters. Looking to bounce back after a fumble lost in the end zone for a defensive touchdown as Nelson finds his receiver Crowell on the near side. Nice pickup on first down. A very nice pickup on first down, about 8 yards, 2nd and 8. Trying to march towards the west end zone. Sean McFarland, the center, in his second week playing here in Waterloo. Nelson dumps it off. Vernon Sharp actually played some mostly quarterback these last 2 weeks. Going to play some receiver. Picked up that last-minute pitch, but got slammed up at the wall on the original line of scrimmage for no gain. Brings up third down. Three minutes to go, opening half. Iowa trailing at 25-7, and the handoff goes nowhere as Jay Palmer gets stopped for a loss on the ground. Loses about 2 yards on that one, and decision time once again for the Iowa offense. Correction, make it about 4th and 4. As they're going to go for it once again. Pitch, Olabrice going to go deep towards the end zone, incomplete. And a big hit on the wall. That was Sean McFarland, the center, who ran the route, but just a little out of his reach. So the Woo are going to turn it over on downs for the second time this quarter. And it'll be decent field positions for the Harbor Monsters with 2:23 to go in the second quarter. We mentioned earlier the playoff seeding locked up regardless of the outcome of this weekend's game, either here in Waterloo as well as the game with the Lunkers visiting the Goats at Municipal Auditorium in Kansas City. The Harbor Monsters, win or lose, are locked into the 2 seed. They do hold head-to-head tiebreak against the Lunkers should they finish with the same regular season record. Iowa locked into that 4th seed. They'll be at Kansas City next week for the playoffs. And a flag for another false start. Second of the night against against Duluth. Kickoff time's not yet set for those 2 league semifinal games. Iowa at Kansas City and Ozarks at Duluth. But they will be played next Saturday, August 3rd, with the Goats and the Harbor Monsters hosting. And the winner of the 2 games will meet in Arena Mania, the league's championship game, on August 10th to determine the league's first title holder. Johnson putting his receiver, Terry Thomas, into motion on his right. Alone in the backfield, taking the snap. In the end zone, fires. And caught with a nice deep pass to Javari Flowers on the near side of the field. Flowers was on the far side, standing in the end zone with Johnson crossing across the field. One of the big pickup on 1st and long. And that'll take us to the 2-minute warning of the first half. Duluth threatening once again, leading 25-7 on the march towards the end zone. We'll take a quick timeout and be back with the final 2 minutes of the first half. This is Iowa Woo football. Back for the final 2 minutes of the first half here at the Hippodrome, and Duluth leading at 25-7 in the second quarter, threatening once again. As Duluth trying to pick up their 5th win of the season, the Woo looking for their 2nd. 1st and 10, pitch back to Johnson, back over to Brockman. Brockman scrambling, back to the near side, loses the ball and scooped up by the Woo. It's a turnover. And Iowa, with a great heads-up defensive play, get possession right back and slow the momentum of Duluth. First play under the 2-minute warning. And Iowa catching a big break there to get the ball back. They'll get it at their own 15. We'll take another look at that one as Brockman was scrambling. Got just inside the 10 down about the 5 and then lost it. A big play for this Woo defense and can help turn big deficits around in a hurry if you can capitalize on it. Last 3 possessions for the Woo. Turnover on downs, fumble, turnover on downs. Pass incomplete, intended for Crowell. That one just a little bit strong by Arvell Nelson, making his Woo debut here tonight in the regular season finale. 2nd and 10 with 1:36 to go in the half. Of course, the clock stops on incomplete passes during the final 2 minutes of each half. 2 timeouts remaining for Iowa, 3 for Duluth. Nelson's pass caught, this time by Crowell for a short gain. Still getting used to these new uniforms tonight by Iowa. Again, they're used to wearing all black for their home games. Taking the snap, Nelson dumps it off, caught by Couch. He'll pick up the first down on a nice 8-yard gain. Moves the sticks into Woo territory. And Nelson trying to hurry them up a little bit. We get down to 46 seconds to go until halftime. Again, 2 timeouts remaining for the Woo. But starting to get the ball moving downfield. Nelson scrambling, avoids the hit. Dips it off to Olabrice. Over to Crowell, who loses it. We're going to get referees conferring. Clock stops with 26.9 to go in the half. And our officiating crew tonight, Steve Schaub, Lauren Wood, Rob Gertz, Scott Groth, and Desmond Van Arsdale. They might be reviewing if that second pitch, again, you can do 2 forward passes if it was an incomplete pass. Otherwise, the Harbor Monsters think they might have fell on top of it. Discussion's over, and here's the call, and they're ruling it incomplete pass. So Iowa catches a break on that one with that incomplete call, as the Duluth defense is going to head back out onto the field. The Woo offense with a 2nd and 10 from their 22-yard line, trying to find the end zone one more time in this opening half, trailing at 25-7. Coming up at halftime, we'll bring you the score of the Ozark Lunkers Kansas City Goats game as Nelson avoids the sack, spinning, going to fire across his body, caught by Crowell. No, he just drops it at about the 10-yard line. That would have been a fantastic play for the young receiver. Just slipped out of his hands. Actually, it looked like he bobbled it on the near side, but Nelson avoiding the sack as he spins out of it, throws across the field. And Crowell just can't quite bring it in. 3rd and 10, 18.9 ticks to go until the break. Nelson alone in the backfield. We're going to get a timeout first. Who called it? And it will be Duluth. They will burn their first timeout of this first half. So while we do have a second, we do actually want to give you an updated score from Kansas City, where the Goats are all over the Lunkers tonight so far, 26-8. It seems like they're on a similar timeline as the game here in Waterloo, 22.8 seconds to go in the first half in KC, with the Goats up 26-8. It actually appears something unique happening in that game, as the game in Kansas City is actually being played outside. Not quite sure the circumstances at their home Marina Municipal Auditorium in downtown Kansas City, but they've reconfigured the high school field at St. Pius X High School in western Missouri to fit field dimensions, and they are playing an Arena League game outside tonight. Again, Kansas City with a strong 26-8 lead on Ozarks in an in-state matchup in Kansas City. As we come back from the Duluth timeout on the field here in Waterloo. Iowa facing a 3rd and 10 from just past midfield. They haven't scored since their second possession of the first quarter. They've turned the ball over twice in their last 3 possessions and fumbled once. So Nelson scrambling, looks, he's going to fire down the field high. Incomplete. He was going for Crowell, and Crowell was getting a little bit of a hug from his defender, Deron Maxwell. A little bit difficult to identify the player when their number is being covered up. Time freezes with 14.5 to go, second quarter, and it looks like the Woo are going to go for it here. Trailing by 18 in the waning seconds of the half. And here we go, high snap to Nelson. Looking, scrambling, dancing on his feet. He's going to heave it down the field, intercepted by Deron Maxwell inside the 5 as he flips the ball into the stands. And not what you were hoping for the defense, or excuse me, for the Iowa offense. late in this one. It will set the Harbor Monsters up inside their own 5 with only 5.8 seconds to go till halftime. So barring a Hail Mary down the field, this should in all likelihood hold the score at 25-7 heading into halftime. Of course, we've seen Hail Marys and miracle plays before. Just a couple weeks ago when the Woo were last playing the Lunkers, Iowa rallied late to force overtime. So far the first and only overtime game in league history, and a high snap by the Harbor Monsters that goes out of bounds, and that's going to be a safety. So a little bit of good news there for the Woo. Might be the first safety we've seen all season from Iowa. Shaved about 1.1 seconds off the game clock, and just like in 11-on-11 football, any ball that snapped out of the back of the end zone, ran out of the back of the end zone, that is a safety. So it's 2 points for Iowa, their first points since their touchdown in the first quarter, making it a 25-9 ball game. Two timeouts remaining for both squads, with 4.7 to go in the second quarter. Let's see if Kyler Henson can put together some of his returning magic. Like we mentioned, he had over 100 return yards the last time the Woo faced the Harbor Monsters back on July 13th. As he'll get a chance to return this one off the throw-off from Devontae Mason. He's going to heave it downfield, caught at the 5. And Henson putting those legs to work, breaking a couple tackles. He'll only get about to midfield, and the clock is going to hit 0, and that will take us to halftime here at the Hippodrome. So a few late points for the Woo on a safety, but Duluth scoring 2 touchdowns, one on offense and one on a fumble recovery in the end zone. And that's how the first half shapes up here in Waterloo. Duluth leads it 25-9. We got 30 more minutes of play to go. But that will take us to our halftime break. We'll be back in a few minutes. Duluth leading it 25-9. This is Iowa Woo football.
Good food means different things to different people. That's why there's a local place on the south side of Waterloo everyone can agree on. Highway 63 Diner. Our menu satisfies the taste buds of all ages, with entrees for adults, burgers and sandwiches for the kids, and everyone loves pizza. Check out our daily specials on Facebook and make a reservation today at Highway 63 Diner.
It's Ron Steele's 50th anniversary at KWWL. 50 years of covering news here in Eastern Iowa and around the world. A remarkable achievement, an incredible journey. Along the way, he's been honored with the most prestigious awards in broadcast journalism. Ron is an Iowa institution, icon, and local news legend. So join us in celebrating 50 years of Steele.
Cedar Valley Sportsplex is senior focused. Take a class or work out on your own. We have activities for any age or skill level. Bring in your insurance card to see if you qualify for a free senior membership. Check out cvsportsplex.org to learn more.
Oh, son of a...
Odell Collision. We fix all your...
Whether you're looking to gather with friends or need a great location for a company party or event, Maple Lanes is the place. You're sure to have fun with bowling, pool, pinball, and other party games. Who says team building can't be fun? Challenge your staff to volleyball or let us set up the bags court for you. Kingpin Social has a wide variety of great food and drinks to top off your experience. Whether it's 2 people or 200, Maple Lanes has you covered.
In football, the goal is to avoid collisions, but on the road, sometimes collisions are unavoidable. When your car takes a hit, don't throw in the towel. Turn to Iowa Auto Rebuilders. With our full service facility and excellent workmanship, you'll receive high-quality auto repairs and a hassle-free experience. Visit our website at iowaautorebuilders.com to learn more. Get back on the road looking and feeling like a winner with Iowa Auto Rebuilders, where collision meets precision.
Good food means different things to different people. That's why there's a local place on the south side of Waterloo everyone can agree on. Highway 63 Diner. Our menu satisfies the taste buds of all ages, with entrees for adults, burgers and sandwiches for the kids. And everyone loves pizza. Check out our daily specials on Facebook and make a reservation today at Highway 63 Diner.
Destination Cedar Valley Sportsplex. Choose your activity. Now it's your turn to choose at Cedar Valley Sportsplex.
Oh, son of a...
Odell Collision. We fix all your...
Whether you're looking to gather with friends or need a great location for a company party or event, Maple Lanes is the place. You're sure to have fun with bowling, pool, pinball, and other party games. Who says team building can't be fun? Challenge your staff to volleyball or let us set up the bags court for you. Kingpin Social has a wide variety of great food and drinks to top off your experience. Whether it's 2 people or 200, Maple Lanes has you covered.
In football, the goal is to avoid collisions, but on the road, sometimes collisions are unavoidable. When your car takes a hit, don't throw in the towel. Turn to Iowa Auto Rebuilders. With our full service facility and excellent workmanship, you'll receive high-quality auto repairs and a hassle-free experience. Visit our website at iowaautorebuilders.com to learn more. Get back on the road looking and feeling like a winner with Iowa Auto Rebuilders, where collision meets precision.
Good food means different things to different people. That's why there's a local place on the south side of Waterloo everyone can agree on. Highway 63 Diner. Our menu satisfies the taste buds of all ages, with entrees for adults, burgers and sandwiches for the kids. And everyone loves pizza. Check out our daily specials on Facebook and make a reservation today at Highway 63 Diner.
Ron Steele's 50th anniversary at KWWL. 50 years of covering news here in Eastern Iowa and around the world. A remarkable achievement, an incredible journey. Along the way, he's been honored with the most prestigious awards in broadcast journalism. Ron is an Iowa institution, icon, and local news legend. So join us in celebrating 50 years of Steele.
Cedar Valley Sportsplex is senior-focused. Take a class or work out on your own. We have activities for any age or skill level. Bring in your insurance card to see if you qualify for a free senior membership. Check out cvsportsplex.org to learn more.
Here are just some of the many options at the Cedar Valley Sportsplex. Volleyball, swimming, group fitness classes, spinning, boot camp, running, yoga, walking, cardio, weightlifting, woo! See more options at cvsportsplex.org.
Oh, son of a...
Odell Collision. We fix all your...
Whether you're looking to gather with friends or need a great location for a company party or event, Maple Lanes is the place. You're sure to have fun with bowling, pool, pinball, and other party games. Who says team building can't be fun? Challenge your staff to volleyball or let us set up the bags court for you. Kingpin Social has a wide variety of great food and drinks to top off your experience. Whether it's 2 people or 200, Maple Lanes has you covered.
Cedar Valley Sportsplex is family focused. We offer childcare for kids while you work out, or they can enjoy various youth sports and activities. We also have party packages for birthdays. Check out cvsportsplex.org to learn more.
In football, the goal is to avoid collisions, but on the road, sometimes collisions are unavoidable. When your car takes a hit, don't throw in the towel. Turn to Iowa Auto Rebuilders. With our full service facility and excellent workmanship, you'll receive high-quality auto repairs and a hassle-free experience. Visit our website at iowaautorebuilders.com to learn more. Get back on the road looking and feeling like a winner with Iowa Auto Rebuilders, where collision meets precision.
And we welcome you back to the Hippodrome here in Waterloo as the second half just about to get underway here shortly as Duluth leads it 25-9 over the Iowa Woo. And as we take a look at the scoring drives from the first half, not a whole lot for Iowa, scoring on their second possession of the game back in the first quarter, which tied the game, but weren't able to put much together after that. Their second quarter possessions, a turnover on down, a fumble recovered by the defense for a touchdown, a turnover on downs, but then scoring late in the half with a safety on a snap out of the back of the end zone. Meanwhile, for Duluth, 2 first half touchdowns, as well as 2 more touchdowns in the second quarter, 1 on offense, 1 on defense, as in that aforementioned fumble recovery in the end zone. Still a lot of game left to go here tonight in the final game of the regular season in the Arena League. We mentioned we'd get you a score update from the other league game in action down in Kansas City, Missouri. The Kansas City Goats leading the Ozark Lunkers 33-8 at halftime. That game we mentioned in the first half, a game that normally would have been played at Municipal Auditorium in downtown KC, was moved to St. Pius X High School on a high school field reconfigured to Arena League field size. So we're waiting for the Woo to return to the field. The Harbor Monsters already warming up for the second half. And before we get the second half underway, we just want to give a quick shout out to Iowa Woo fans and Arena League fans everywhere for their support this season. As we mentioned, this is the final game of the regular season. This will be the final home game for Iowa as they'll have to go on the road for the postseason. Just want to thank the support for all the fans in attendance this year, as well as those watching on the Arena League network on YouTube. It's been a fun inaugural season. We'll still get some action here with the postseason coming up, with the semifinals next week, the league championship in 2 weeks. Then we'll look ahead already to the second season of the league in 2025, which will include the addition of 2 new teams that were announced in the last couple weeks: Hot Springs, Arkansas, and Eau Claire, Wisconsin. So bring the league from 4 teams to 6 as it begins its second year. The Woo players starting to retake the field wearing their special Hawaiian Night jerseys. give off a very cool vibe. It is hot tonight, but, you know, for the fans who are wearing their Hawaiian jerseys, they're feeling pretty comfortable in their attire tonight. Got young fans all around the building hunting for a, shall we say, foul ball that flies out of bounds. As we mentioned earlier in the Arena League, any ball that flies out of the field of play is a free ball for fans. That'd be a great treat for anyone, especially if they're watching arena football for the first time. Second half just about to get underway here. The Woo will receive. Try to parlay their late safety. As Mason will throw down the field. Henson's going to have to watch this one take 2 bounces. And we'll get a touchback. Haven't seen a lot of touchbacks so far this season. Many of them have been returned, many of them by Kyler Henson, as we mentioned in that first half, an electric return game. And Iowa will set up shop with their first possession of the second half at their own 5-yard line. Trailing at 25-9, looking for a big comeback here in the regular season finale. Arvell Nelson will stand in the middle of his own end zone between the first O and the Woo word mark. The only person in the backfield setting Henson in motion, takes the snap, looks, takes a big hit, falls incomplete. Pass was intended for Daniel Crowell. He actually knocked one of our lights over as he was hit against the back wall. Everyone's okay though. He's up 2nd and 10 at the 5. JoJo Olibrice joins him in the backfield. Puts Henson in motion, taking the snap, surveying, fires, caught. That's Jamal Couch with the pickup just shy of the 10, gets a couple yards. Mentioned Arvell Nelson, a new addition to this Woo roster this week. Having a little bit of difficulty getting consistent passing the ball, but managed to pick up 5 yards there, move the ball ahead to the 10, 3rd and 5. Crowell to his near side, Henson to his left, taking the snap, but whistles and a flag. We'll await the call. It might be a false start. Yeah, it will be a false start call against the Woo, and Nelson not too happy about that one. It'll back Iowa up to the original line of scrimmage at the 5 and make it 3rd and 10. Still need the 15-yard line as the line to gain. The Harbor Monsters spread in the secondary, prepared for potentially anything deep, and Iowa can get right back into this game with a deep shot and a quick strike. Snap, pass caught. That's Couch with the pickup. He gets back up to the 10 for a gain of 5. So Nelson took a big hit in the back of the end zone, actually knocked the end zone gate open. Is okay. Brings up 4th and 5, and Iowa's going to go for it, down 25-9 with 2 minutes gone in the 3rd quarter. Alone in the backfield, Nelson takes the snap, being rushed, scrambles, looks, flips it up, caught by the center. That's Sean McFarland with a nice pickup on the lob pass, and it'll push the Woo into Harbor Monster territory on their first possession of the half, 1st and 10. Just what the offense ordered. Maybe not quite drawn up the way they had hoped, but getting the ball moving. 1st and 10 at about the 22. Taking the snap, dumps it off. incomplete. Crowell was the intended receiver. A bit of a quick pass from Nelson, just out of the reach of Crowell. 2nd and 10. 3 minutes gone here. Third quarter, Duluth leading at 25-9. Bryce joining Nelson in the backfield, puts the receiver Couch into motion, taking the snap, rolls to his right, surveys, stops, fires back across the field, caught. That's Henson. We'll see where they spot the ball. It's very close to the first down marker, and it will be a first down to move the sticks. Nice reception by Henson, being open on the far side of the field. Sets up 1st and goal at the 10 inside the Miller Lite red zone. Iowa trying to start this second half off right. They've marched all the way down from their own 5-yard line to the Duluth 10, 1st and goal. Nelson, high pass, incomplete. It was a high lob pass, well out of the reach of his receiver. That was Bryce. Didn't quite contest that as it was well out of reach. 2nd and goal. Again, no playoff seeding in jeopardy with results tonight, all locked up. As Nelson escapes a sack, flips it over to the end zone to Bryce, walks in untouched, touchdown Iowa. Bryce just slides into the end zone after the high arcing lob pass, and Iowa's on the board with their first score of the second half, their first touchdown since the first quarter. We'll take another look at it here as Nelson avoids 2 tacklers. And that's just more of a shuffle pass, just dumps it off to Bryce at about the 3. And just goes in and cuts it to a 10-point game with under 10 minutes to go in third period. And Iowa's gonna go for 2 here. They haven't done this in a while. Nelson taking a snap, rolls to his left, and he's gonna get taken down on his right ankle. Nice tackle made by Derek Daniels Jr. So both teams have attempted a 2-point conversion attempt tonight, and both have ended in disaster. But Iowa gets on the board with their first touchdown since the first period. And Harbor Monsters' lead now sits 25-15 with 9:25 to go, third period. Bryce will have the throw-off duties once he receives the ball from the referee. Bryce has been a pretty consistent thrower on these throw-offs. Not a whole lot of ceiling contact. So he will heave this one downfield with a nice spiral. Takes a couple bounces into the end zone, and it's picked up by Maxwell. Not much in place to go as he's going to try and reverse field and finally be taken down by Dejon Warren, one of 4 newcomers to this Woo roster this week. Maxwell looked like he was initially going to be tackled pretty quick, evaded the defense, was at risk of breaking free on a big gain, but Wilkes manages to take him down. Only a minimal return. 1st and 10 for Duluth at their own 9.5. Javante Johnson will go back to work. Johnson, again, 179 yards, 2 touchdowns last week against the Ozarks, and we're going to get a flag here before the snap. This receiver and defensive back made it all the way down the field. And this one will go against the Harbor Monsters, back them up 5 yards. Always good to get your opponent back on their heels. Last time they were pinned this deep, they snapped the ball out of the back of the end zone for a safety. 1st and 15, Johnson takes the snap, quick fire, just out of reach of his receiver, Anderson. He leapt for that one, but couldn't pull it down. It'll bring up 2nd and long. So if you're Iowa here, be a good opportunity to disrupt the flow of the Harbor Monsters. They scored 2 touchdowns in that 2nd quarter, an offensive score, and they recovered an Iowa fumble in the end zone for a defensive score. It's Johnson's pass complete to McAllister, still on his feet. It's going to take a trio of defenders to bring him down, and they will. That defending trio led by Chris Herring, the Tampa, Florida native and product of both Florida Atlantic and the University of Alabama, will be enough to move the sticks for a Harbor Monster 1st down. Just shy of midfield. Duluth on the move with just under 8 minutes to go, 3rd period. Center, Whitlock under center. Johnson in the backfield, taking the snap. Pitches it, ball on the ground. Incomplete is the call. He was trying to pitch it to Hassan Brockman. It was just off his fingertips, incomplete. Boy, if Iowa could have got their hands on that one, watch out. Second and 10 for Duluth. Receiver out to Johnson's left. Terry Thomas to his right. Alone in the backfield. Takes the snap, pitch back to Johnson, scrambling. Throws incomplete. He was looking for Whitlock, but he was a good 7 yards away. And Raj Lewis covering him. No play on the ball either, but it'll bring up 3rd and 10 for Duluth near midfield. And this would be a big stop for the Iowa defense if they can force Duluth to surrender the ball. Johnson now joined in the backfield by Brockman. Brockman takes the snap, pitches it back to Johnson. Johnson looking, he's going to fire down the field, incomplete. Chris Herring on the coverage and just out of the reach of Terry Thomas. 4th and 10 for the Harbor Monsters in decision time for Duluth. And Duluth is going to keep their offense on the field. Some Duluth fans starting to get on their feet, make a little bit of noise here. First, Duluth is going to burn a timeout and then rethink this. Their first timeout of the half with 5:58 to go in the 3rd period. We'll take a quick timeout with them as Duluth faces a 4th and 10 when we come back. This is Iowa Woo football.
Destination Cedar Valley Sportsplex. Choose your activity. Now it's your turn to choose at Cedar Valley Sportsplex.
Good food means different things to different people. That's why there's a local place on the south side of Waterloo everyone can agree on. Highway 63 Diner. Our menu satisfies the taste buds of all ages, with entrees for adults, burgers and sandwiches for the kids. And everyone loves pizza. Check out our daily specials on Facebook and make a reservation today at Highway 63 Diner.
Duluth facing a 4th and 10 here on their first possession of the 2nd half. And we're going to get an Iowa Iowa defensive huddle here. Doesn't appear that they called a timeout. If you're just joining us, Duluth jumped out to a pretty strong start in the first half, leading at 25-9. They gave up a safety out of the back of the end zone on a high snap late, as Iowa scored only one touchdown with that safety in the first 30 minutes of play. Meanwhile, early in the third quarter here, Iowa found the end zone for the first time since the first quarter with a touchdown to JoJo Albright from from Nelson. And that's where we sit, Iowa trailing by 10, and with an opportunity here to get a big stop on defense. Again, the Harbor Monsters facing 4th and 10 at their own 17-yard line. A little bit difficult to identify the yard line based on our positioning in the west end zone. And the defense will return to the field now. We're going to make a big stop on 4th down. Potentially one of their biggest defensive stops and possibly a momentum shift here in the third quarter with 5:48 to go in the third. So here we go. Johnson putting his receivers in motion. Brockman flipped it back to him. Now he's going to run with it. Going to lob it up the field for Brockman. Incomplete. It just fell out of his hands. Brockman had a great step on Wilkes, the new defensive player for the Woo in his first game with Iowa. Brockman had a great step on him, but he just couldn't hold it in. It juggled in his hands a bit and falls incomplete in the end zone. So Iowa catches a break there. They force the turnover on downs, and they're going to get the ball back with excellent field position at the Duluth 17, trailing by 10. And we just mentioned it coming out of the timeout, a potential momentum shift should Iowa find the end zone here. Only a 10-point game. A lot can change with still 20 minutes and 47 total seconds of gameplay remaining in regulation. Iowa still looking for that second win and that elusive first home win in franchise history. As Nelson's going to take the snap, he's going to fire a bullet. It was intended for Crowell, couldn't pull it in. Had great velocity on it, but just too low. 2nd and 10. Albright joining Nelson, in the backfield. There's the high snap to Nelson. He's going to launch it towards the corner of the end zone. Ball tipped up in the air, incomplete. Fan did catch it out of bounds, but unfortunately that does not count for 6 points. 3rd and 10 for the Woo at the 17-yard line of the Harbor Monsters, trailing it 25-15 with just under 5 minutes to go, third period. Play clock down to 5 seconds. So Nelson gets Crowell into motion, takes the snap with 1 second on the clock. Scrambles, cuts back. Scrambling again, fires just out of the hands of a defender. That's Henson with a great catch. It looked like Dante Mason almost picked it off, but just went through his hands. And Kyler Henson with a big pickup, and it'll set up 1st and goal for the Woo inside the Miller Lite red zone, at the 5. We're all excited here tonight. 1st and goal, Nelson shuffles to his left, fires. incomplete. Albright thought he had pulled it in, but it hit the turf first. It was a good throw, just a tad short. Would not be surprised to see Iowa go back to that play in the near future. The Woo offense knocking at the door once again. 2nd and goal from the 5. Nelson trying to avoid the scramble. Throws it out of the back of the end zone as he's hit in the backfield. That's Ahmad Butler on the tackle. He won't get credited for the tackle as it was an incomplete pass. But he does his job in forcing it to a 3rd and goal from the 5. This is always difficult when you're trying to find the end zone. Of course, in 11-on-11, you have a little bit of extra field space to work with, but you have padded walls here. As Nelson takes the snap on 3rd down. Scrambling, lobs it up, incomplete. Goes into one of the box seats behind the end zone. Nelson wasn't too happy with that one. I think he was still a little upset on that last play. He didn't draw a flag for roughing the passer. So it'll bring up 4th and goal from the Duluth 5-yard line. This feels like a big opportunity as we approach the 2-minute mark in the 3rd quarter. Iowa trailing by 10, 4th and goal. Nelson scrambling to his right, fires across the field, incomplete, out of the hands of his receiver. It was Jay Palmer. No correction. That was Daniel Crowell. Kind of slid onto his right side and nearly brought it in, but just a little bit short, and the Woo are going to turn it over on downs at the Duluth 5-yard line. So a promising drive, unfortunately, stalls out for Iowa with 1:50 to go in the 3rd period. The Woo defense did force a turnover on downs on their last possession. Let's see if they can find some momentum here defending their end zone. Johnson taking the snap, looks, fires across, caught. That's Anderson. A nice sliding catch. He avoided the wall with 2 Woo defenders trailing him. Picks up about 5, brings up 2nd and 5. Gets him out to about the 10-yard line as we're going to get a stoppage of play. And we're going to have an injury timeout, as Anderson actually looked a little more shaken up than we initially thought. He did just walk off the field. And we'll return to play here momentarily after that very brief injury timeout. Not a whole lot of points here tonight on either side. Of course, the Harbor Monsters held the Lunkers to just 18 points last week in their 51-18 home win at DECC Arena. Hand off to Brockman as he's going to lose his helmet in the process, but he's going to pick up the 1st down and move the chains for Duluth. As we said, Duluth just giving up 18 points to the Ozarks last week, a league record for defense. Moving the ball ahead to the 19.5-yard line of Duluth, 1st and 10. Johnson and Brockman lined up in the backfield, putting receivers in motion. Johnson's pass complete to the far side. A little bit of a WWE throwdown, nothing malicious, but gravity brings the ball carrier down. It's a nice pickup by Javari Flowers on first down. A nice pickup of about 9 yards, 2nd and 1, or second and a long one, we shall say. And we expect that will be the last snap of the third quarter, as both teams are going to head to their huddles, and we head to the final quarter of the 2024 regular season for the Iowa Woo, still in reach of their first home victory, but they trail it 25-15. Throw 15 minutes left up on the board, and let's play one more quarter. We'll be back with the fourth period of this one from Waterloo. This is Iowa Woo football.
Cedar Valley Sportsplex is family-focused. We offer childcare for kids while you work out, or they can enjoy various youth sports and activities. We also have party packages for birthdays. Check out cvsportsplex.org to learn more.
It's Ron Steele's 50th anniversary at KWWL. 50 years of covering news here in Eastern Iowa and around the world. A remarkable achievement, an incredible journey. Along the way, he's been honored with the most prestigious awards in broadcast journalism. Ron is an Iowa institution, icon, and local news legend. So join us in celebrating 50 years of Steele.
Oh, son of a...
Odell Collision. We fix all your...
Whether you're looking to gather with friends or need a great location for a company party or event, Maple Lanes is the place. You're sure to have fun with bowling, pool, pinball, and other party games. Who says team building can't be fun? Challenge your staff to volleyball, or let us set up the bags court for you. Kingpin Social has a wide variety of great food and drinks to top off your experience. Whether it's 2 people or 200, Maple Lanes has you covered.
It's time for the fourth quarter here at the historic Hippodrome here in Waterloo. A 2nd and 1 for Duluth as we begin this final period of play, and Duluth leading it by 10, 25-15. Brockman receiving the pitch from Johnson. He's going to scramble. He'll pick up the first down yardage. It's been Duluth tonight. They've been elusive. Haven't had a whole lot of deep shots, but have been able to do just enough to keep the chains moving and keep Iowa out of the end zone. Quick recap of that third quarter. Not a whole lot on either side. Iowa opened the third quarter with a touchdown, only their second of the night and their first since the first quarter, followed by a turnover on downs for Duluth and a turnover on downs for the Woo. As Brockman receives the pitch once again, scrambling, has nothing but green in front of him, and now nothing but blue in front of him in the end zone. Touchdown Duluth. And the Harbor Monsters are going to double their lead up here on the Woo early here in the fourth quarter on a nice scramble play by Hassan Brockman. We'll take another look at it. Johnson just elusive up the middle. Cuts back to his left just a little bit and virtually untouched into the end zone. It's Duluth on the conversion attempt. They find Whitman. He's going to come up just short. And there'll be no points after the touchdown for the Harbor Monsters. 31-15 with 13 and a half minutes to go in regulation. And Iowa trailing by 16. Well, as we mentioned earlier, fans, the regular season finale tonight across the league. And the playoff matchups already set and the seeding locked in, as the results of these games tonight will not affect the seeding any further. Kansas City will host the Woo next Saturday in Kansas City in the 1 versus 4 matchup. Meanwhile, Duluth will return home. They're going to host Ozarks in the 2-3 matchup. Again, as I said, regardless of results of tonight's games around the league, even if the Harbor Monsters and the Lunkers finished in a tie, Duluth took 2 of 3 from Ozarks this year and clinched the regular season series. So by virtue of tiebreak, they have first dibs. But it doesn't appear that the tiebreakers will need to be used, as the seeding is already secured. So semifinal Saturday next weekend, and 2 weeks from today, the league championship at the highest remaining seed. Mason's throw off downfield, caught by Henson. And with some green to return it, he's past midfield. And a nice return by Kyler Henson, gets taken down at about the Duluth 16. That's what he can do with his legs. Can leave you in the dust and make you regret not covering wide open holes. So they're going to place the ball a couple inches shy of the 15 of Duluth. And a short field for the Woo to work with. We approach just under 13 minutes to go. Duluth leading 31-15. All 3 timeouts remaining for the Woo, albeit still a lot of game clock remaining. Nelson taking the snap, dances to his right, stops, is going to fire up the middle, intercepted. Dante Mason, who's handled throw-off duties tonight, steps right in front of it and shuts down momentum. But we actually have a flag down on the field. Let's hold on a second. So we await the call from head official Steve Schaub. If you're the Woo, potentially a holding against Duluth, potentially a roughing the passer, or potentially even excessive celebration. We're not quite sure yet. The verdict's still being discussed. Here's the call. Oh, not quite yet. Jury's still out on this one. And here's the call. So it will be first down for the Harbor Monsters, but it's going to back them up deep inside the 5. I'd say about a good 2.5 feet outside the goal line. So if you're Duluth here, you got to be careful not to give up a safety, or even worse, fumble the ball. Backed up against the wall. Dangerous territory. Anderson to Johnson's left. Awaiting the snap. Takes the snap, looks, quick pass. Incomplete as it hit the ground first. Intended for Terry Thomas. It was a nice throw, but couldn't get his hands underneath it to secure it before it hit the ground. Incomplete, 2nd and 10. I want to say at the 1.5 yard line. It's very close to guess. But again, dangerous territory for the Harbor Monsters. Looking to add on, the Woo trying to find a spark in the final minutes of this one. Well, Anderson takes the snap, incomplete. Johnson wondering where his receiver was on that one. He threw wide open to nothing but green grass. Brings up 3rd and 10 from deep inside the 5. With 11.5 to go, the Harbor Monsters up 16 in the 4th quarter. Johnson standing just a couple inches off the back wall, takes the snap, looking, lobs it up, caught by Brockman on the far side, just shy of the 15, and it'll move the chains. Dangerous territory, as we keep saying, as you're literally backed up against the wall, and they get out of it and move it ahead to the 15-yard line for a new set of downs. Brockman in the backfield, pitches it. Brockman pitches it back over to Johnson. Johnson throws across the field. Too strong, incomplete, as he was looking for Ladarian McAllister. Just out of his reach. 2nd and 10. Quick scoreboard update as we're keeping our eyes on the game down in Kansas City. Between the Goats and the Lunkers, it's all Kansas City tonight, 54-15. Iowa and Ozarks matching one another's offensive scores at the moment. And trailing big. Taking a snap, dumped off to Whitman. Flag down on the play, as Whitlock gets it deep into Iowa territory, but this one might come back. Actually, we have 2 flags down on the field. A couple of the officials waving to Duluth, come on back. Just appears it will go against Duluth, although we don't know the call just yet. And it will be illegal touching against the Harbor Monsters. And it'll back them up to their 11-yard line. Johnson in the backfield. Receivers to his left and right. Puts Flowers into motion, taking the snap. Rolls to his left, stops, backs up, throws. Incomplete as he was looking for McAllister. And a flag on the play. And head coach Mook Zimmerman not too happy with that one, as it looks like that one might be defensive pass interference. And it will be. So we wait for them to reset the ball, reset the chains after the DPI call. Still waiting on the chains. It'll be 1st and 10 for Duluth. Yep, there they go. Good work by our chain gang here tonight. Clock rolling, just under 9.5 to go. 31-15 in favor of the Harbor Monsters with a fresh set of downs. Receivers in motion. Johnson taking a low snap. Backpedaling. Moving to his left, waving his receivers downfield. Said he's going to dump it off, and it's caught by McAllister with a nice gain on 1st down just past midfield. And a solid 1st down game. Picks up about 8 yards for a second and a long one. Clock continuing to roll as the Harbor Monsters here. They might be trying to burn a little bit of clock here, comfortably ahead by 16, but they want more. As they march towards the east end zone. Low snap as it's going to fall incomplete. Brickman looking for the corner of the end zone. It's going for Henry PJ. Brings up 3rd and short. And if you're Iowa here, a stop would be monumental. And you have all 3 timeouts to work with, but now with just under 8 minutes to go and down 2 possessions, you need as many stops as you can get. Brinkman to Johnson's left, taking the snap. Pedals, lobs it high up to the end zone, incomplete. He was going for Terry Thomas, but he just didn't have the step on him to get away. That was Jahan Warren on the coverage. Just kept step with him, couldn't let him break inside. So a 4th and 2 for Duluth. And we're going to get an official's timeout here on the field. That was quick. As we return to the action. Johnson in the backfield with Brickman behind him. Takes the snap, pitches it to Brinkman, or to Brockman, excuse me. Brockman Dancy's going to heave it towards the end zone. Incomplete. Great coverage by the Iowa defense, covering Javante Haynes. One of his few targets of the night out of his reach, and the Woo are going to get it back on a turnover on downs with exactly 7 minutes remaining on the clock, trailing 31-15. We want to thank the participants and congratulate the winners of tonight's fan raffle, brought to you by Cedar Valley Hospice. The winning numbers on your screen. The final raffle of this season. Appreciate you playing along wherever you may be, in the arena or at home. 3 timeouts remaining for Iowa. 7 minutes on the dot to play. Nelson dumps it off. That's caught by Sharp. Maybe a little bit of a short gain on 1st down, but not much. Mentioned that Sharp mostly played quarterback last week. Actually had a really solid quarterback outing for the Woo against the regular season champion Kansas City Goats last week. He actually threw 6 touchdowns for 286 yards and threw 2 touchdown passes each to Couch, Palmer, and Olibrice. As Nelson on 2nd down, gonna pitch it up. That's Sharp again. Holding on, actually lost some yardage on that one. Brings up 3rd down, and Iowa right now not moving in the direction they need to be. With a 3rd and 11 ensuing with 6 minutes to go. Trailing by 16. I think they might have the down marker incorrect. It should be 3rd down, but it says 2nd on the sticks as Nelson can't escape this one, and he's going to be taken down for the sack and a big loss for the Iowa offense. Lavelle Spruce with the takedown in the backfield, the big TFL. And it puts Iowa in a predicament on, oh, there they go. They do correct the down marker. It is now 4th down, 4th and very long. They need to get essentially to the Duluth 15 for a first down or risk turning it over on downs once again. And before the snap, we got flags flying all over. And this one looks like it's going to back up Iowa even further. And I believe, if I heard correctly, a delay a game against Iowa. As players are going to head to the bench, it may look like Iowa might be deciding to surrender the ball on 4th and very long. Well, we will get a timeout on the field, as it appears Duluth is going to burn their second. As we have this timeout on the field, we once again want to thank Iowa Woo fans and Arena League fans all across the Central Midwest for their support during this inaugural season. Still playoffs to come next week and the week after, but we hope to see you again once again in 2025. This is our final home broadcast of 2024. Obviously, we want to thank the ownership team, the operations team with the Iowa Woo, our production crew, doing a fantastic job bringing you arena football for the first time here in Waterloo, Iowa with the Woo. As it looks like the Iowa defense is going to head out to the field. No, not quite yet. Got to always remember in Arena League that players do play both ways on offense and defense. And with 4:54 to go in the game and Iowa trailing at 31-15, not much else to lose here. Going for it on 4th, and I'm not even going to try that math. Here we go, 4th and long. Nelson's going to heave it downfield on a spiral, falls just incomplete. Looked like it was tipped by a couple defenders, and Jamal Couch couldn't come up with the deflection. So the Woo will turn it over on downs once again, their second straight possession, ending in a turnover on downs, and it's going to be excellent field position for the Harbor Monsters inside their own 10-yard line at about the 6 or 7. As they set the chains for this next Duluth possession. Quick score update from Western Missouri, Kansas City, out to a commanding 61-15 lead on the Ozark Lunkers. About 8.5 minutes to go in that one. Kansas City locked up the top seed for the Arena League playoffs, and they will host the Woo next Saturday in Kansas City. As this Duluth possession inside the 5, inside the Miller Lite red zone, is going to start with a false start penalty. That'll back them up just outside the 10 at about the 11. Backing out of the Miller Lite red zone. As Javante Johnson looking to put the finishing touches on this one tonight. Taking the snap, rolling to his left. And a sliding catch. Ruled incomplete. Looked like Terry Thomas. Looked like he almost caught that, and we're actually going to have a quick stoppage and play for an injury as he got a little shaken up with his right leg as he slid into the wall. From our angle, it looked like he almost brought that in. but it just falls incomplete, and they're going to tend to him with 4:28 to go in this one, and Duluth leading it by 16. So as they do, we will step aside for a brief moment as they tend to Terry Thomas. We'll be back in a moment. This is Iowa Woo Football.
Oh, son of a...
Odell Collision. We fix all your...
Good food means different things to different people. That's why there's a local place on the south side of Waterloo everyone can agree on. Highway 63 Diner. Our menu satisfies the taste buds of all ages, with entrees for adults, burgers and sandwiches for the kids. And everyone loves pizza. Check out our daily specials on Facebook and make a reservation today at Highway 63 Diner.
Back at the Hippodrome, Terry Thomas back up on his feet after a little shaken up on that sliding incomplete catch in the corner of the end zone. A 2nd and goal for the Harbor Monsters at their own 11. They got backed up on 1st down initially by a false start penalty. Looking to close this one out and finish the regular season with their 5th win of their inaugural year. Johnson with Brockman, pitches it to Brockman. Brockman looking to throw, going to cut back towards the middle, towards the end zone, walks in untouched, touchdown Harbor Monsters. And that might just do it here tonight as Duluth extends their lead with their their 2nd touchdown of the 4th quarter. We'll get another look at the score here as Johnson initially taking the snap, pitching it over to Brockman. Brockman looked like he was going to go for the end zone, but then saw the open hole and just cruises in untouched. And Duluth going to go for the 1-point attempt from the 5, and a scrambling Javante Johnson is not going to go anywhere. He's going to actually fall down in the backfield. So no extra point for Duluth on that one, but they do extend their lead to 37-15 with 3:23 to go in regulation. 2 timeouts remaining for both sides. It's been a little bit of a theme tonight. The PAT attempts not going really either team's way. Iowa looking to score on this next possession, try and cut into this one a little bit. Meanwhile, Kansas City giving up a touchdown to the Lunkers, 61-22, and late in that one. Dante Mason on throwing duties, as he has done all night. Kyler Henson, as he's done all night, on return duty. Back on the east side of the field. Wait for the whistle. Mason chatting with one of the ball boys. And here comes the throw off from the right-hander. Henson catches it just beyond the 5. Gonna try and hurdle a defender, but not get anywhere. He's taken down at about the 7. Where Iowa will go back to work in the final 3 minutes and change of this one. Well, we've seen a number of players come through with the Woo this season, many with excellent talent and able to get some consistency for the Woo on offense, but Tonight, just not the same as they were able to do last week. And Iowa last week against the top-rated offense in the league, scoring 6 touchdowns in their first 8 possessions. And tonight, Iowa only able to find the end zone twice. Nelson taking the snap. He's going to go deep downfield and intercepted by Haynes. Haynes looking for more. It's going to cut back towards the middle of the field and walk into the end zone, hitting into the wall. Touchdown, Duluth. And the Harbor Monsters celebrating in this one on the second defensive touchdown of the night. This time a pick 6. And now tempers flaring on the near sideline. This thing not looking pretty right now as this one's getting a little bit out of hand for Iowa to come back in this one. Coaches trying to separate players. A couple Iowa players trying to get back to the bench. A few just staying out of it, but effectively most of the Iowa bench is out on the field right now. Meanwhile, down in the east end zone, Javonte Haynes, who had the pick 6 and scored, is being tended to. Appears to be okay on that one. Things appear to be settling down a little bit. There's still 2 minutes and 44 seconds to go in this one. Cooler heads trying to prevail. We're going to take a look, see what might have incited the war of words, potentially a late hit. Oh, there we go. As center Sean McFarland kind of, it appears to have shoved Haynes late after he had crossed the goal line. As it now appears we're going to get our first flag from this incident. Most of the confrontation taking place right in front of the Duluth bench. We're going to let them sort this out because, as we said, there is a penalty on the flag, likely for the late hit, or the late shove, excuse me, from McFarland. This is not how you want to end a season. I know that frustrations can build over in a tough season, but this is definitely not what you want to see in any game, regardless of the score. Steve Schaub, the head official tonight, pulling out his notebook, and I believe he's going through the rosters to determine the final penalties on this incident. Couple Harbor Monster players just walking out on the field. A couple Woo players chatting with them, trying to defuse the situation. A couple talking with some fans in the field boxes. So we are still getting a discussion among the officials. As Steve Schaub, it appears he's talking with some of the coaches. Hoping to get a decision here shortly. If you're just joining us, a little bit of a messy situation here late in this one. Duluth scoring on a pick six to take a 43-15 lead with 2:44 to go in regulation. And a late shove by Sean McFarland of the Woo of Javante Haynes, who intercepted the ball and returned it for a touchdown. Got a shove from behind, was pushed into the padded walls in the east end zone, and inciting, well, we couldn't quite see everything that happened in front of the benches, but as we're taking a look at the replay once again of the play in slow motion. You can see Haynes getting shoved right there at the end. And it does appear that McFarland has been disqualified from tonight's game in the final minutes. We are happy to report that Haynes does appear to be okay. He was a little shaken up after he got shoved into the wall. The officials continuing to talk right now. As team officials are continuing to discuss the next steps here. You mentioned there is a penalty. There is one penalty flag on the field naturally. Not quite sure if it was for the late hit or if it was for the unsportsmanlike conduct that followed after. But we are continuing the discussion. Let's step aside for a moment as the officials discuss the further steps. We'll step aside for a moment. This is Iowa Woo football. We are back here at the Hippodrome, and if you're just joining us, we are coming off a messy situation where with a late hit after a interception return for a touchdown, a disqualified Woo player, and appears that we will be returning to play here shortly. Not sure if we can get the replay queued up one last time to show what happened. But the Woo, the deep pass was intercepted by Javante Haynes, number 8. And he gets a late shove right here from Sean McFarland, number 7, in the Hawaiian jersey, which prompted we don't want to say brawl because we don't know exactly what happened in front of the visiting bench, but a messy war of words. We know Haynes was a little shaken up after the shove into the wall, but after being tended to, managed to come off the field all right. And after McFarland's disqualification from the game, it appears we're going to be returning to action. There's still 2 minutes and 44 seconds to go in this one, with Duluth leading at 43-55, pending the point after try. And as we said, this is not the way you want to end your season.
Touchdown is good. There's 4 ejections. I don't have the numbers right now.
Getting an update from our operations staff. There are actually 4 ejections from the game. We don't have the exact numbers on who those players were, but we do know at least one of them was Sean McFarland, who had been the center for the Woo tonight in his second home game for Iowa. So we will now return to the field and resume the game as the Harbor Monsters are going to go for the 1-point attempt from the 5. Johnson scrambling, backpedaling, dumps it off to Brockman. Going to look for the end zone and just avoids the tackler and is in for the 1 point. And it will extend the lead out for the Harbor Monsters, 44-15, with 2:24 to go in this one here tonight. And as we await the ensuing throw-off, quick scoreboard update, we have just gone final in Kansas City. Nope, not quite yet. The Goats leading the Lunkers 61-28 in the final seconds of that one. As we mentioned, Kansas City will host the Woo next week in the semifinal playoff matchup. We assume that one will be in Municipal Auditorium because we noted earlier tonight that the Goats are actually playing outdoors tonight at St. Paul X High School in Kansas City. They reconfigured the field to Arena League dimensions. And the Goats on their way to their 7th win of the season. The Harbor Monsters, pending something miraculous by the Woo, on pace for a 30-point win right now, leading by 30 with 2 minutes and change, looking to get their 5th win of the year. The Lunker is going to fall to 3-5 with their loss tonight, and the Woo will fall to 1-7. With all the playoff seedings, matchups locked up, Dante Mason with the throw-off duties in the final minutes of this one. The low throw, Henson will pick it up at about the 9. He's going to reverse field, flag down on the field, and try and reverse again and go down at the 10. We'll see to the dirty laundry on the field. As we await Steve Schaub's ruling on the penalty. Actually, I'm not sure if we already got it, but it's going to move. It appears it's going to be against Duluth, so it will move the ball up to midfield for Iowa. 2 timeouts remaining for both sides. We'll see if the Woo can put together another solid drive or two in the final 2:15 here of this regular season. Obviously, one of your goals as you head into the postseason is to try and build momentum. That was kind of stuffed tonight with only 2 touchdowns on offense and giving up 2 defensive touchdowns. Nelson's pass to Alla Bryce, just out of his hands, incomplete. 2nd and 10 at midfield. And it'll take us to the 2-minute warning with 1:56 to go in this one. Duluth leading at 45-15. And they have just gone final in Kansas City. The Goats taking down the Lunkers 61-28. Kansas City, as we mentioned, improving to 7-1, wrapping the regular season at 7-1. And Ozarks dropping to 3-5. And as we hit this 2-minute warning, it's time for our Odell collision of the game. Plenty of great hits here tonight, and the defenses came to play as the Woo were able to come up with a big one here to slow the momentum of the big man, Travis Whitlock, who's done an excellent job at center tonight, but also a couple catches, a couple scores as well. Final 1:56 to go here at the Hippodrome. Iowa looking for some late points to close this one out and to close the regular season. Nelson, the quick pass over to Henson. And he's going to be taken down hard by Mason. Looks like Mason was able to just stop Henson and just let him fall onto his back. Not much of a hard tackle, just gravity taking him down on that one. A small gain, however, about 2 yards. Brings up 3rd and 8. Clock continuing to roll, 90 seconds to play. Two timeouts remaining for both sides. Nelson taking the snap. He's going to fire up the middle. That's caught by Raj Lewis. Haven't seen much from Lewis on the offensive side. He's been more of a defensive guy, but a nice reception, and that'll move the chains here. With 70 seconds to go, clock stops as they reset the chains. 1st and 10 at the 15. Another snap to Nelson. He's going to spin to avoid the defender. Looking. Chest level catch caught. That's Daniel Crowell. Couldn't quite identify him right away, as his front number and the back number on his jersey was covered by the wall and the defender, but a nice pickup of 5 yards on 1st down to the 10-yard line, 39 seconds to go. Iowa looking to find the end zone one more time. Pass caught by Olabrice. Pushes ahead for the 1st down, got it by about a yard. Stopping the clock with 31.5 seconds to go. Again, the clock will stop on any incompletion inside the final 2 minutes of each half. Nelson taking a snap, lob pass up, and just out of the hands of Henson. He's trying to catch it on his back shoulder, but couldn't quite get a grip on it, and a couple of lucky kids are going to go home with a game ball. 2nd and goal. Oh, that's correction, 2nd and goal. Just waiting on the chain gang. 2nd and goal from the 5 inside the Miller Lite red zone. Nelson scrambling to his right, fires. Crowell caught. Touchdown, Iowa. Daniel Crowell gets the Woo into the end zone for the 3rd time tonight. Unfortunately, won't be quite enough in tonight's game. We'll have to add a few seconds back onto the clock, and they do, to 14 seconds. And as Iowa, they're going to go for 2 on that. We'll take another look at this one. Nelson scrambling to his right. Throws across his body into the middle of the end zone. Crowell open. 2nd touchdown of the half for Iowa. On their 2-point attempt, dumps it off. Falls incomplete as he was going for Jay Palmer. And the 2-point conversion comes up empty for the Woo, with 14 seconds remaining in this one, trailing 45-21. So I imagine we'll get one more throw off here, and Harbor Monsters will be able to run out the clock and close out this one here tonight. Like we mentioned earlier, a tough night for Iowa, not able to find the offensive momentum that they had in the first half last week against Kansas City, going toe-to-toe with the league's best offense. Only finding the end zone 3 times tonight, once in the 1st quarter, once in the 3rd, and once in the 4th. Of course, we had the messy situation of a late hit and arguing words in front of the visiting bench, the ejection of 4 players, which delayed the game for a few minutes. This is how we sit for the final seconds of the regular season finale. And Iowa will have it here at their own 5. Again, a unique Arena League situation as an option for an onside kick instead, since there is no kicking in the Arena League. Nelson scrambling. He's going to push it and try and find Goulbourne as Nelson was pushed up against the wall by the defender Spruce. And for those who are new to the Arena League, what Iowa just ran there was essentially the equivalent of an onside kick. They get one play attempt to reach a certain to-go line, and if they get it, they get the ball back, but Iowa coming up short on it. They will lose the ball and possession and give it back to the Harbor Monsters with 14 seconds to go. So the line to go on that quote-unquote onside kick attempt, because Iowa failed, it gives Duluth the ball back at the 5. And as the final Harbor Monster players take the field, Brockman in the backfield. He'll snap it, take the knee, and that will do it tonight from the Hippodrome. A tough loss for the Iowa Woo, who just couldn't quite get it together offensively after a strong week and performance last week, as they're going to drop their final home game and the 2024 regular season finale to the Duluth Harbor Monsters in a final score of 45-21. And with the regular season coming to an end, Iowa finishes the regular season at 1-7. Of course, they are locked into the 4 seed in the postseason, and they will head to Kansas City to take on the regular season champion Kansas City Goats, who tonight again were a 68-21 winner over the Ozark Lunkers. Ozark, I should mention, is the only team to have beaten Kansas City this year, and it was in Kansas City. But a tough test for the Woo next week as they take on the league's top offense. Ozarks, meanwhile, will head up north to northern Minnesota to take on the Harbor Monsters, the 5-3 Harbor Monsters now with tonight's win. And the winners of next week's 2 playoff games will meet in Arena Mania 2 weeks from today on August 10th, with the highest seed hosting for the inaugural league title. So as we wrap up tonight's broadcast, we want to once again thank the Iowa Woo fans, our team management, ownership, our fantastic broadcast crew. I know they can hear me up there in the control box, but thank them for their hard work this season and bringing you Arena League action from Waterloo all season long. It was a fun year. It was a blast for me, for my broadcast partner Andy Sy, who couldn't make it tonight, Chris Kleinheit-Schultz, who filled in for me for a game earlier this year. But a fantastic, fun first year of arena football, and hope to see it continue to grow here in the Cedar Valley. Of course, still one more game to go at least in this 2024 season. And as they say in football, on any given day. So once again, that'll do it tonight from the Hippodrome as the Woo drop their regular season finale 45-21. They'll be in Kansas City next week for the opening round of the playoffs. For the Iowa Woo and the Arena League, this is Joel Waters saying thank you for watching and goodbye from the Hippodrome in Waterloo. Again, the final score, the Duluth Harbor Monsters 45 and the Iowa Woo 21. This has been a presentation of Iowa Woo football.